Hey everyone, this is Randy from BibleBuyingGuide.com. Today I'm taking a look at the newest version of the Thompson Chain Reference from Zondervan. This is the updated, revised ESV. They produced this in several different covers. They've sent me the tan calfskin. Now the calfskin looks amazing. I don't know that I'd call it tan. To me it looks more like an orange, which I like. I love this cover. It's very thick. That is a thick leather. Leather lined, edge lined, perimeter stitched, really thick hubs, an elegant spine. I like that. 2 ribbons, brown and gold, and these are the 3/8 inch. Of course, they're all sewn. This edition has overcast stitching. Might be a little difficult for that to show up, but there's a stitch line all the way down there. And by the way, this one is a 2-piece box. I like a 2-piece box. I'll show you why. I'll show you how I use a 2-piece box. I use it as a prop. Set my Bible up like that. Make it easier to use. Especially good if I'm writing. Has a stiff tab, so that is noticeably stiffer than normal, but it does eventually lay down, as you'll see. The paper is, I think, the 30 GSM paper that's used in the other editions. This one is made in South Korea, so we're going to have a little bit of a few differences in production quality. It matches everything else I've seen from South Korea. The paper is smooth, but it has a little bit of a rough texture. It makes it easy to turn. Has a little bit more show through than some of the other editions. That could be due to possibly different paper. All the information is in the front that talks about the Bible, talks about the updates, talks about the ESV, talks about the chain references. We'll go through all that, see how it works. So each book starts with a book analysis. This used to be in the back. It is now in the front as a book introduction. And they've added some information, major chains, and a few other things. But for the most part, it's the same information that you're going to find in the back of the older Kirkbride editions. And then here's our text. This is a 9.5 point font. This one is not a Comfort Print, although matches the Comfort Print editions. I don't know what the font is, but it does look good. It does match the Comfort Print really well. Paragraph setting, around 6 words per line. So we have a double column with the references on the inner and outer margins, and then ESV translation footnotes are in the footer. Makes it easy to see. And real quick, the way these work, the information in the margins identifies topics in the verses. It gives you the topic number and the reference for the next verse in that chain, in that topical chain. Topic numbers you'll find in the back. We'll look at that as we go. And as you can see, mine has a little bit of cockling. Not bad, but enough to stand out. All the highlights are in red. Section headings are in red. The information in the header is in red. We have the book name, chapter and verse number in the outer margin. In the inner margin, inner column, we have a page summary. That's a dark red. I like that. Topic numbers are in red also. Then this has the standard ESV formatting. So we have a poetic setting. There's Psalms. There's not a lot of space on the page for poetry, so you are going to have some lines with a single word. I find the Thompson really easy to use. It's one of those things that looks complex, but it's not as complex as it looks. Once you get used to how it works, it's not that bad. There's the red letter, about a medium red. It's not as dark as the section headings. Those are more of a bold red. I like that bold red better, but this red looks good too. The show through is mostly noticeable where there's nothing printed on the front side of the page and something's on the back side. It was printed with line matching, so that helps readability. So in the back we have the Thompson Comprehensive Bible Helps. It explains what all this stuff is, but we'll go through it real quick. These tools are really good for sermon prep and personal study. And the reason they're good, and the reason all the chain references are good, is even though this is a study Bible, it's not a commentary Bible. So it doesn't tell you what to believe or anything like that. It just gives you 8,000 topics and then lets Scripture interpret Scripture. This is my favorite type of study Bible. And the Thompson's one of my all-time favorites. So it tells us principles of Bible study, best methods of study. Then we have an alphabetical index. Now this index, you just look up the topic you're interested in, and it gives you the topic number. And then you turn to the next index, which is a numerical index. And then the numerical index, you turn to that topic number, and it gives you all the references for that topic. And sometimes there are subtopics also. And there are also suggested topics. Those that are printed in red are the primary references. Those are in black are the secondary references. And then also it gives you suggested topics, and it builds an outline in some cases. Here's a suggested topic. This builds an outline. So these are really good for personal study and sermon prep. And many of them give you the prominent verses printed in full. Not all do, but a lot of them do. So that you can just look at it here to see if it's what you need, and then go to the actual text and read it in context. One problem with a chain reference, it can make it easy to take scripture out of context because it's giving you the verse. So I recommend reading the context, not just the verse. And the Thompson itself recommends that. Then we have a condensed outline of the Bible. And this gives us the book names with their topic number and a short description of each. Lots of tables in the back. All of these have been updated. So if you're familiar with the Kirkbride, a lot of these will have the same information, but they're going to be a new design. So we have periods of biblical history, Bible character studies. Now in some of these we do have some description, but they're not theologically based. They just give you the information and then give you scripture where to find it. Prominent characters classified with the meaning of their names. Outline history of the apostles. This is a good table. So it gives you the names, all the information about them, their parents, their homes, business, characteristics, writings, some information about them. That's a good table. Lots of good tables similar to this back here. I like this one. This is a Messianic prophecies table. Gives you the prophecy, a summary, and then the fulfillment. I've used this one for teaching quite a bit. I like this one. You can teach directly from this. It doesn't tell you what to say, it just gives you scripture. And then Bible harmonies and illustrated studies. And this includes some of the prominent people in scripture with redrawn maps, and the information is the same as from the original Kirkbride edition, but they're now made easier to read and use. Overview of Moses' life. Lots of journeys, lots of different people. Joshua, Gideon, Samuel. Lots of good information in these maps. Harmony of the Gospels. This is a really detailed table. Several pages. This is a big harmony. Big table. Overview of Jesus' life. This is a timeline with lots of information. You can find information on how to use a lot of these on the Thompson blog. I actually have written most of the articles on the Thompson blog, where I go through all the information, all the details. Jesus in his hours on the cross, really good table. Jesus post-resurrection appearances, overview of Paul's life. And then we're just going to go through a lot more of the same types of maps. Lots of maps for Paul. Outline history of the early church. Lots of good information there. Distance in miles between Old Testament cities. That's a good table. Topical treasury. This lists topics for you to look up in the numerical index. Gives you the topic number, and then you just turn to the numerical index to see the topics. So just lists of scripture mostly. Christian workers text. There's the information there. Memory verses, aids to memorization. Good little article telling you how to memorize. Places of religious worship and religious leaders. Hebrew times, seasons, and festivals. And then the ESV concordance. This is a concordance from Crossway. It has 300,000 verses and 14,000 different words. Good size concordance. Almost 90 pages, if I remember correctly. So that's a good concordance for study. So there's how many references we have for God. That's a lot of references. God, goddess, godliness, godly, gods. Lots of good information there. Table of weights, measures, and monies. A couple of pages there. And then a color map index. I prefer a map index. So this gives us an index to the maps, making the maps easier to read and use. And I prefer that. I like it when they include that. Between the map index and the maps are 10 pages for notes. These are the regular Bible pages. They have lines for notes, and it says notes at the top. And then here are the maps, 13 maps, thick semi-gloss paper, and these are the Zondervan maps. We're going to find these in all the Zondervan study Bibles. And that is a quick look at this Thompson Chain Reference Bible in the ESV. Now, in a future video, I will compare it to the Kirkbride edition, the Zondervan update of the Kirkbride edition. One thing, this one doesn't have as many sizes. I don't think this is available in large print or the handy size. Here's a look at the size. 7 by 9 7/8 by 1 7/8, and we'll weigh it. 3 pounds, 3.5 ounces. So that's a quick look at the ESV Thompson from Zondervan, the newest edition of it. This is a good Bible. The paper doesn't look quite as opaque as the other Comfort Print editions, but this is made in South Korea. So that is a good trade-off. The tab in the front is a little stiff, but as you can see, it does eventually lay down. Here we are in the middle of Genesis. Have a little bit of a hump there, but it does lay down. It's not fighting against me. So I can hold that open and read it and use it. Go to the beginning, closer to the beginning of Genesis. It tries to close a little bit in the first few chapters, but that will break in once I use it enough. Haven't used this a lot, just enough to go through it for this review, which means I turn pages and I read it and use it just a little bit. But overall, this is a good Bible. It doesn't go too far into the gutter. Small amount of cockling there, but not enough to care, just enough for me to mention it because it is there. A couple little page crinkles, but not many. I don't know if that shows up on camera, but there's a few pages with some crinkles. But overall, I think this is a really good version of the Thompson, and I recommend it. I like it a lot. So if you're an ESV reader, I recommend this edition of the ESV Thompson. Now, if you're interested in learning more about how to study the Thompson, then take a look at the TCR blog from Zondervan. Also, if you're interested in developing sermons or classroom material, or even doing your own personal study, I have developed a sermon notebook for the Thompson. It comes out in October 8th actually, and I will place links to that in the notes. I'll also place links to this Bible in the notes so that you can make a purchase if you're interested, and to the written review where I always go into more detail. And Zondervan did supply this in exchange for an honest review. If you have any questions, let me know. I will be doing some comparisons coming soon. Thanks.